Hi, guys. So, the topic that we chose for tonight was, do others see me or do they see my disability? And the reason for choosing this topic tonight, when I was talking to you guys last week about topic discussions and topic ideas, one of our new member contacted me through email, and she was expressing the struggle that she's having with her family, with the people around her. Since she had her TBI, she suffered several strokes, and she says that, she's not who she was before. She does have a lot of speech impediment, mobility. She is dependent on her caregiver now. And she's struggling because she said she, at several times, people around her made the comment of saying, that lady that has those problems. And it really hurt her because she said, I have a name, I'm a human being, I have an identity. I'm not a person that has just a disability. There's more to me. And this is a topic that I thought would be really interesting to bring up because, getting, everybody's input, everybody's insight about how they dealt with it and how do they teach other people around them that don't look at me as a individual with a disability. I am an individual. I have a personality. I have a name. And that's our topic for discussion. And we're going to open up the mic, or you guys could raise your hand if you have something that you want to share, a personal experience, or, maybe something that you encountered as you either acquired or how you dealt with the public or people around you that have that disability or similar disability.
You all have the opportunity now. You can raise your hand and I'll take turns and unmute the person to let them have a chance to speak up. Sorry, I just chugged a big drink. Ooh, that was loud. Anyone? This is the opportunity for you to raise your hand. We have Carol. Carol, okay.
They could just raise their hand in the picture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're all looking at each other. You can just raise your hand in the picture, which is easy too.
Basically, I think this was brought to my attention quite a while ago with people in a wheelchair, is people don't acknowledge the person in the wheelchair, they acknowledge the person with the person in the wheelchair. And I make it a point to acknowledge both people every time I see someone.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of people don't feel comfortable with people with disabilities. And I think that's a large part of it, a lack of education. That's all.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I've seen that working in a place with like when I was working at Pop-In Cafe, and we worked with 85% of the people that were working there were disabled. And you had these high functioning disabled people sitting there working, and the other people, they didn't know I was disabled. And they come to me, oh, you the manager? I said, yes. And they're like, oh, that one. Or can you help them out? They're having a little bit of trouble. I said, why don't you talk to them and ask them if they're having trouble? Instead of assuming that they're having trouble, maybe you're not explaining yourself correctly. That's why they're not getting what you're trying to say, And it worked out. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, no, I said, Or I tell, oh, they're not the ones who's disabled. And they go, wait, what? I love doing that. But yeah, no, I've seen that over and over again. You see somebody, perfect example, me and Henry have gone out. Henry, you know, when we went to the Mardi Gras Festival in New York, some people looked at me like I was his caregiver. I'm like, no, we're both disabled. You know, it's not the case. I got you, Henry. I'm going to unmute you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Henry.
No, no, you're right. When people don't see a walker or a wheelchair or something, they right away assume they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Once they saw that Michael was with me, not helping me, but with me, everything changed again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But me as an individual, as soon as they see my walker, boom.
Yeah. You don't know his experience, his knowledge, his background, or anything like that.
Right.
You know, but it's immediately assumed that this person's an invalid or incapable or not educated or something along those lines, which is really, really obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
When I introduce to people who I am and what I do, and I always try to include that I got my education after the brain injury, not beforehand.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, I did professional work before, but I didn't have a college degree. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that I'm an invalid, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or incapable. That was a big, big thing. Yeah. Anyone else want to speak?
I think we have similar.
Hold on. Well, what were you going to say? Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm coming, Kathy. Give me a second.
I see. I said Carol. Sorry.
Go ahead, Kathy.
It's a shame that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to be around people with some sort of disability
Yeah.
and find out that they can excel in some areas and not so much others. And we're all individuals.
Yeah. I like asking people without a brain injury to go get me a left-handed screwdriver. And it's the people without a brain, the ones with the brain injury that understand that I'm joking or teasing them. The problem is preconceived notions. That's really what it all comes down to.
Well, that's true, because somehow society's taught us to expect such and such of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never been around people that were, say, in a wheelchair, or I don't know, I can't think of another example.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have any experience with socializing with someone like this, so we don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yep. Or I've seen this one too. Somebody that has a neurological issue and you can't physically see it. And then you explain to the person, oh, this is I'm a proud member of our organization. Yes, they're disabled. So here's this person without the disability, walks up to them and starts going, hi, how are you? They're not deaf or dumb. They understand what you're saying. What are you yelling for? They speak real slow. Like their words are all like, how are you doing today? And like, they're not 3, you know, this is a grown person, a grown individual. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So yeah, it's really something else. I love throwing it in people. There's people on Facebook that don't even think that I've ever had anything. I was like, that's why I'm here, because you don't know who's got a brain injury and who doesn't. Nobody has the right to judge. And I've had to get pictures of my accident, which you guys have seen. Pictures of my accident finally proving, look, this was me. This is what happened to me. I did have a brain injury. I didn't fake it. I'm not looking for anything, you know. This isn't me trying to put myself on a pedestal about anything. I didn't make it up. Yeah, I went through that one. So
I think our story is very on point with this topic. When 3 months before I met Michael, one of my sister was working with him, and she used to talk about him, you know, how nice he was and his personality and whatever. Long story short, there, she was trying to hook me up. But I was not in that frame of mind. And when I did meet Michael, I didn't put two and two together. And we started the day we met, which was the weirdest thing. But it was, I guess some things are just meant to be. Because I was moving to North Carolina, and I was taking a job as a regional director to set up for UNICEF. And my goal in life was I wanted to teach people and be able to help people who were less fortunate or struggling or whatever the case may be. But I can tell you honestly, in my goal and my drive at that time, individuals with disability, although I worked with them, I never really interacted with them. I always was on a professional level. The night that I met Michael, my sister introduced me as her coworker, and we talked briefly, but it was after, when he needed a ride, that I was like, all right, I'll do the good deed for the day and call it a day. So I gave him a ride home. We talked through the entire ride of me dropping him home. Not once did I think anything other than, wow, he's a really amazing person for what he was doing as far as helping others and utilizing the resources to give back instead of just taking. And it was interesting to learn after 3 months of knowing him, not the night that we met, 3 months after we met. And we talked, we did fundraisers together, that he explained to me that he had a TBI. And I will hurt him right in the back of me. But I never knew. I saw him as a person who had a passion the same way I did, who just wanted to be out there and help others and do things. And that's one of the main things that I fell in love with him, because you don't find people who are selfless. They're more into helping, doing, building love, compassion, consideration, open communication. You know, that's what I think this world needs a lot of. But you don't find a lot of people out there nowadays that are willing to put themselves out there for that. And I was shocked. And I mean, I can't really put into words how I felt the day that he sat me down and he showed me the pictures of the car accident. And when he was in the hospital bed, and then he gave me the opportunity at that time to read his story. And I cried my eyes out, because you look at a person, and I was looking at him for what I knew, but he at that time had taught me so much about how people who you look at them and you take for granted, wow, just, okay, this person has a disability, they're limited to. But he taught me that there's no such thing as I'm limited to. It's all about determination and what you can do, what you take the inability and you turn it around to ability to build and grow and move. And I from that day, it gave me a different perspective on what it was to to say, I want to help, or I want to move forward, or I want to do, or I want to teach. My sense of goal took a completely different direction, because this is a person who didn't have much to offer, as like, you know, you see these people who are millionaires and they do absolutely nothing. It was about the love and the compassion, the understanding of seeing people way beyond of what was just his physical point of view. And to me, that was a big eye opener. You know, it changed my life around. And that's why I support him and everything that he does, because every day I say he's like a walking miracle to me. When I look at and I think about the pictures, I think about the things, I think about the struggles, you know, learning to walk. And I've seen it firsthand with my mom. You know, he had a car accident. His brain was actually affected. And with my mom, I know firsthand what it took for her to learn to walk again, learn to talk again, learn to be independent and to regain your self-confidence. And that's a lot. I know I can tell you of maybe 200 people right now who don't have any form of TBI, who cannot do nothing close to that. Because you challenge them to wake up in the morning at a certain time, even though you may set an alarm clock, and they still can't do it. But you tell a person with a TBI, okay, we're going to get in this routine. We're going to set a goal, whether it's long-term or short-term, and we're going to try and accomplish it. And you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to get it done. It's all about that determination and their self-goal, their self-worth of how they see themselves, but they know they can do it. And I tell Michael every day, I said, you know what, we have struggles, we have up and downs, and, you know, he says, oh, you don't rest, or you need to just calm yourself down. But I always feel like there's so much more that I can do. There's so many people out there that we need to reach, you know, giving a kind word, or even a simple pat on the back, or a hug, or a smile, or I thought about you. It means so much. It's that little encouragement that gives them the get to go, I can do it. You know, and like I said, I am every day I am so grateful for him, because he has showed me a different path of helping, a different path of moving forward, a different path of, you know, not just doing the research and or the outreach and the support. It's about looking deeper, looking at that individual and helping. You know, everybody just needs a little shoulder, as I say, to lean on, you know. But ironically, for our story, it wasn't him that needed that shoulder at that time. It was me. I didn't have a TBI, he did. I did not have any type of obstacles as he had went through. I had the knowledge of how to take care of, but I didn't have that personally and personalized feedback or experience. He did. So in our case, it was a role reversal of who taught who and who opened whose eyes. And I was a student and he's the teacher. And every single day that still goes on, because every single day he'll come home and say, guess what? Guess what I learned? Or guess what happened? And I'll take the time now, since I don't know, I'll go research everything and get the feedback and get the information to give each other that support. And those are things that I think that people who are caregivers, family members who are struggling in acknowledging and being able to communicate effectively with their loved one, I think that's what they need to be taught. They need to open and look deeper into the individual that's with them, whether it's their mom or whether it's a child. Like being a teacher, I hear a lot of parents that say, I'm so frustrated, I don't know what to do. He doesn't calm down, he doesn't sit. Or with their loved one, for example, some of them may have husbands, they'll say, I don't know how to deal with him. He's so temperamental, or he's frustrating me, or he doesn't listen, or he gets agitated. Well, there's a reason why they're like that, you know, and if we take the time to find the key components that are the triggers, we can help them to find strategies to move past that. We can help them to find strategies to cope with it. But not only for them, it helps us to learn how to deal with them when they are going through that phase. Some of them can't help it. You know, it's their sense of release. Whereas for a person without a TBI, I like to coupon. I can go couponing and de-stress. Or I could pick up a book and I could read it and I could be able to focus on that book. Whereas an individual with a TBI, it's very hard for them to do that. It's very hard to pick up a book and be able to focus on that book and not get distracted. It's very hard for them to be in an atmosphere where there's noise and they can't calm down. Their body's just so excited. So this was my learning experience. And I hope that, I am able to help others understand, how to deal with, or how to understand, or how to move past just the physical aspect of it or the title aspect of it, and learn to love, live, and accept that person for who they are now and not who they once were. And that's my story.
Nobody's raising their hands. Okay. That was very poetic.
It was honest.
It was beautiful.
It was honest.
I'm gonna cry.
I should write a novel, right? Episode of Anna dealing with Michael.
I call it PMS, putting up with Mike. So
I'm
anybody
not
like to add or speak up?
I was
Everybody's unmuted? Oh,
No,
Kathy's just
for some
quiet.
reason I am. Can I just say what I really have trouble with is my inconsistencies, like good days versus bad days. And that my good days are just, she's her old self. My bad days are what the heck's wrong with her? And frustration and no understanding. But it's the fluctuation of it for me that makes it really challenging. Or is it usually fluctuating for most people with brain injuries? Probably, eh?
There's a lot of contributing factors that could take part in that. It could be the amount of rest that you have. It could be the amount of stress that you have. And it could be just even the variations of chemicals in your body that have an impact on stuff like that.
Well,
I don't know. I have people that have mood swings that never had a TBI too, so I don't know.
I didn't mean, I meant cognitive issues. Cognitive capabilities go up and down, but
No,
I have hydrocephalus and the air pressures bother me. So every time the weather changes,
it has an impact on you.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Just like me, I like sunshine. Rain makes me depressed.
No, there is contributing factors that have to do with that. But a big one, like I said, especially with cognitive issues, that's where rest, and sometimes it does take little, Anna will tell you, vitamin supplements that are beneficial to help out, that aren't, you're not dependent on them, but they just help and they're not addictive and stuff. So that could also, help you out a little bit. But rest is the biggest thing. I've had a ton. I'll be with you in a second, Henry. I've put posts up that people don't understand how important cognitively rest is, because somebody who says I'm physically exhausted and they've worked, their butt off for a whole day. For somebody that's had a brain injury, that same tiresome is they say that a person that is 20% tired is almost 80% tired with a disability because of the cognitive issues and the impact it has on the central nervous system and the thinking process. You know, how everything fluctuates in the brain. So rest is one of the biggest, most important things that have an impact on everybody emotionally, physically, cognitively, like the way you retain information, how you comprehend things, speech issues. I can guarantee all of us that are brain injury survivors can talk about having a loss for words when you're trying to come up with the things that you have to say and you don't know how to say it. That's a common thing. And that's, you know, the average person needs 8 hours of sleep a day for normal brain function. I'm not saying that people with brain injuries need 12 to 15 hours a day sleep, but that would be nice. but it's having you being barely able to function on 7 hours of sleep or 6 hours of sleep a night. It does have a totally different impact on somebody that had sustained a brain injury than it does somebody who hasn't. That's the bottom line, and that's all jokes aside. So, all right, Henry had raised his hand, so I don't want to ignore him. Well, I do, but okay, Henry,
Number
go
one,
ahead.
Anna, that was a great love story to me vomit. Anyway, but Kathy, to answer your question, I think it's a normal thing with a TBI to have ups and downs.
You broke up there, Henry. Can you try that again?
It's a normal thing cognitively to have your ups and downs when there's any kind of brain injury. Unmute Kathy, Mike. Mike, unmute Kathy.
I missed what you had said, Henry, because it
I
froze.
said unmute Kathy. She said something.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kat. Yes.
Not unmuted. She's still muted, Mike. Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
No, I'll just talk too much.
No, go ahead.
I answered your question about the ups and downs.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
a normal thing.
well, because hydrocephalus is not exactly the same as a TBI, but I think
Right.
there's a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm. I know there's not a lot of similarities. No, I know that's not the same, but there are a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you both said that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hello, Carol.
Hello.
Carol, how much have you seen with issues like this, even with family and things like that?
I've seen it quite a bit in that they're afraid I can't handle things anymore. Both my parents were admitted to the hospital last week, and they're both home and doing well now. But you know, they wanted to shield and protect me from it because you know they didn't think I would be able to handle the stress and you know, going and just sitting and you know talking with you know my parents and whether I'm sitting at home or sitting there talking with my parents, it's no difference, you know.
Right.
Interesting.
But yeah, but they just don't think I can handle things, you know.
Oh, I want to chime in on that one. Because I have seen that, even Anna has seen it. I mentioned it to her when we first met, and now she has seen it firsthand. Is the same type of issues with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when you get, it's a tense situation, everybody, like your family's like, they want to baby you. like, oh, this is a
Right.
great conversation. You need to see your way out of this.
Right.
You don't talk about this topic because Mike's here. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but also, did you also, I'm sorry, Mike,
No, go ahead.
also find that a lot of the time that because we're disabled and we can't do anything physically to help, that mentally we have to also be quiet.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
That just because we can't physically do anything doesn't mean we can't have positive or negative input.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Your opinion is like, oh, yeah.
You're right. You
Yeah.
know, like I say, my opinion could be wrong at the moment, but at least let me have my opinion.
Yeah.
Don't just shut me up.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because another aspect that comes hand in hand with any type of, not just a TBI, but any type of neurological impairment is, it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about with people's judgments, but
Excuse me, just so you know, Michael, you know that Susan Spar is the only one muted.
oh,
And Jenny.
Well, Jen never talks, so no big deal.
no, it's okay.
Hi.
Hold on. I am muted, everybody.
Okay.
What was I getting at?
Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Hi. No, I'm trying to remember where I was at.
We were talking about.
Oh, yeah. No. I remember.
Probably.
One of the things that are common, regardless of what type of brain injury you have, is the effects that it has, especially to us that are adults and fully functional prior to the brain injury, is the stress, not just the brain injury, the stress of the BS that goes hand in hand afterwards. And this
Right.
is kind of what this conference call is about,
Mhm.
is post-traumatic stress that I've dealt with. I have my guard up because everybody thought of me as being an idiot,
Right.
you know, and not that well-minded and things like that, and all this judgment that went on for 10 years. And meanwhile, I'm the one in my family with a college education and a degree and excelled and, you know, further than most of my immediate family has. And that was after the brain injury, not before, you know. So you're telling me you wish I was who I was before. I'm not the same person I was before. The reason why I stand up for myself and I get loud and I do have my pride that's in jeopardy is because you're the one trying to put me in my place where I'm not. You're trying to make me feel like a lower person than I really am. I am capable, and I am better than I was before. And who are you to have any right to put me in my place? You know, where are you, or how have you succeeded? What have you accomplished? You know what I'm saying? What did you have to go? That's a big thing that all of us that are survivors can say proudly. I know what I survived. What have you survived?
Right.
Self-inflicted wounds? Too much drug abuse? You know what I'm saying? What have you done?
Right.
Self-inflicted wounds? How is that making you a better person now? You know, I love, it's just, that makes me crazy because it's really not fair. Here we are, survivors. We should be on a higher pedestal than people that haven't done anything with themselves and they're getting by sponging off the system or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We should be proud,
Right.
not put down.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done preaching. Let me go to the next page of my Bible.
Amen.
Can I get an amen? Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
I got Susan laughing, she's choking over here.
Come on.